Hey guys, today we will be talking about the Chedoke Arm and Hand Inventory-7. The purpose of this measure is to assess the functional recovery of an affected arm after a stroke, and it also evaluates the functional ability of the affected arm and hand to perform tasks that are important to the individual. There is no specified age range for this assessment, and it is an objectively assessed outcome measure that is used in quantitative research, and the scale is based on a 7-point Likert scale. It takes approximately 20 to 25 minutes to administer, but that time range can differ depending on the version you use and the client's level of independence. The Chedoke can be found in English, French, German, Hebrew, and Italian. There are 4 different versions of this assessment: version 13, 9, 8, and 7. The difference between the versions is the number of items assessed in each. For example, version 13 has 13 items for the individual to complete, while version 7 only has 7 items for the individual to complete. Each version with more items than the one below increases in difficulty of the items added. For example, version 13 has items 10 through 13, which increase in difficulty, such as zippers, cleaning eyeglasses, placing a container on a table, and carrying a bag upstairs. It is important to note that the Chedoke McMaster Stroke Assessment is another version that came before the one we are discussing now. Each version of this assessment and the different languages that it's in can be found on the website CAHAI.ca. This assessment was originally made to assess individuals who have a stroke. However, today it is also used with individuals who have MS and other neurological disorders. The only training required to use this assessment is to read and understand the administration and scoring manuals before using it. No normative information has been established yet for the Chedoke inventory. The reliability for the Chedoke, however, has been found to be excellent overall. The test-retest ICC score was excellent for all shortened versions, specifically with a .96 for version 7. The inter-rater and intra-rater scores were also excellent for stroke, with ICC scores ranging from .96 to .98, and upper extremity paralysis was also excellent with an ICC score of .98. Validity for the version 7 of the Chedoke has not yet been established. However, versions 9 and 13 have both received excellent scores of .82 for version 9 and .86 for version 13. This is the score sheet of the Chedoke version 7, and it is the same sheet that you will see in the video coming up. Here are the 7 items scored in this version of the Chedoke. They include opening a jar of coffee, which can be substituted as a jar of creamer or a similar jar with a screw top, call 911, draw a line with a ruler, pour a glass of water, wring out a washcloth, do 5 buttons on a shirt, and dry your back with a towel. Here's how you score the Chedoke. Again, it is a 7-point Likert scale. Giving an individual a 1 means that the individual is a total assist. 2 is a max assist. 3 is a mod assist. 4 is a min assist. 5 means that supervision is required. 6 means that it's modified independence, such as using a device. And 7 means complete independence that is done timely and safely. Here is a video of me completing the Chedoke inventory on an individual. For purposes of this video, the individual's left upper extremity has been affected.
Hi Julian, I'm Pam. I'm going to be your occupational therapist today. And today we're going to be doing the Chedoke arm and hand inventory. So first I'm going to have you open up this jar of creamer. Okay. Alright, perfect. Alright, so next we're going to have you dial 911 on the phone. Hello? Alright, perfect. Alright, so next you're going to draw a line on the paper. against the ruler. Alright, good job. Alright, and next you're gonna pour a glass of water into this cup using this pitcher. Alright, good job. Alright, so next you're going to wring the water out of this washcloth. Good job. Alright, so next you're going to button your shirt 5 times, or you do 5 buttons. Alright, perfect. Alright, and so lastly I'm going to have you dry your back with the towel using both of your hands. Alright, perfect. So for opening a jar of coffee, she held it with her affected hand, which was her left hand. And she did it independently, so she got a 7 for that one. She held the receiver with her left hand and dialed the phone with her right hand, and she got a 7 for that one for completing it independently. She held the ruler with her left hand, and she did that task independently as well, so she received a 7 for that. She held the glass with her left hand while pouring the water and did that independently, so she received a 7. She was able to wring out the washcloth independently. She was able to do the 5 buttons independently. And lastly, she reached for the towel with her left hand and did that independently, so she got a 7 as well. So she got a total score of 49 out of 49.
Research has shown that the Chedoke inventory has recently re-emerged and is now used with individuals with stroke, multiple sclerosis, and brain injuries. Research also indicates that OTs use the inventory to gather useful information about function in meaningful everyday tasks. OTs in patient rehab use the inventory to help motivate their clients' recovery because they are able to see improvements in functionality as opposed to the biomechanical measurements that are normally used. It is also used to detect other impairments such as cognition and proprioception. There are a few biases that should be mentioned when discussing the Chedoke inventory. First, in a research article, the authors found that many OTs found it challenging to determine if they should score the individual based on their ability to complete a task as a whole and functionally, or if they should just look at the motor components. OTs from the same study also reported that they did not have this inventory in their OT toolbox because they instead normally used the biomechanical measurements such as range of motion and grip strength. Item number 2 is outdated because many individuals do not have the type of phone required for this assessment due to cell phones. For example, in the inventory manual, it requires you to use a phone that has a receiver, which most people used to have house phones, but they really don't anymore. This also adds in a cultural bias because some cultures do not use a variety of the objects needed to complete the assessment. Also, there is no age range, validity scores for version 7, and there's no normative data for the Chedoke overall. This brings to question whether this is an appropriate inventory to use on children who have had a stroke or acquired a brain injury, and it also can bring confusion into whether the scores reviewed are meaningful or how to interpret the scores. Lastly, some individuals may complete the tasks asked of them differently at home than they do in the context that the inventory is being done in. For example, to open a jar, some individuals have adapted the way they complete this activity, so they only use one arm instead of 2. Alright, that is all that I have for you guys on the Chedoke 7. I hope you learned a lot, and thank you for watching.